Hey, yo, Extra, hit me up, man. I want to do some consulting for you because I can tell you how you can get around this proposed ban. It starts with a T, ends with a P, and in between, there's a duffel bag full of cash. Listen, I'm not a soothsayer, not anyone special. I'm a political science major, the son of a lawyer. Don't hold that last part against me. So I do understand how the government works and how to read things like FCC documents. And I was very clear very early on. I was one of the first, if not the first, to tell you that DJI cameras were going to be banned, not just drones. And I took a lot of heat for that because I was so early on and I understood exactly what was about to happen. And unfortunately, the same kind of holds true with Xtra cameras. You see, Xtra was actually petitioned by the FCC to provide proof that they weren't using any banned technology or technology that was on the covered list. They sent a letter to their Delaware office, or rather their registered agent for their LLC, and that went unresponded to. This was back in February, March. Now, after they didn't respond to that, the FCC went ahead and emailed their official email address that they have listed, and they kind of dropped the ball there too. So now they're facing a $25,000 fine and still have to answer the question, where did your technology come from and how are you getting it? And to be honest with you, if they find any links back to anyone like DJI that is on the covered list, well, they too are going to be banned. And because they have diverted this and delayed it and also delayed their launch of the Muse 2, I think there's another really good chance that Xtra, well, it's not going to be able to be sold here in America. And that's not a great thing for any of us, because what I've seen in the past, let's say 2 years almost, is we have less and less freedoms. We have less and less choices. And at the end of the day, if we have Insta360 and we also have GoPro, we have two choices. And those choices, while they may or may not be good, they're not really in the best position. Because I have a feeling that Insta360 at some point is going to face the same criticism. A lot of this depends on the midterms, and a lot of it depends on what administration is in power and where we sit as a society and as a government and where our tolerance lies. Been very clear with the fact that Xtra, listen, what you need to do is put a Trump or one of his oligarchs on the board. If you do that, grease some palms, it's no different than China back in the day. We're just kind of headed that way too, with widespread corruption and the ability to get what you want if you have enough money. Now, I understand you're not playing the game because that's not the way it used to be, but this is the new MAGA America, and you have to play the game. So my suggestion to you all would be to place Barron Trump, Eric Trump, Don Jr., or any of their chosen oligarchs and put them on your board or make one of them your CEO. If you do that, you've got a chance. Now, if you don't do that, well, you're going to be subject to the very real facts. And the very real facts are this. We've had multiple people break down the Muse, for example, open up the cover, and what they found was the exact same hardware layout. And of course, when you go a little bit deeper into their software, you're going to see a ton of callbacks to DJI's code. Now, the official kind of narrative, or I should say the unofficial narrative, is these were people from Insta360 and DJI who broke off from those companies to start Xtra. Now, whether or not you believe that is up to you, but that is one narrative that's out there. My belief, well, that's a good story and cover for the fact that you're just swapping logos on the same equipment in order to sell here in America. Now, I do take issue with DJI being on the ban list in general. And the reason for that is because they've asked multiple times for the United States government to do an investigation and prove to them that they are violating some type of security when it comes to their cameras and drones. Now, so far, we've seen the administration, FCC, and everyone else punt it and put them in a perpetual purgatory where they can't get out of the banned list or covered list. And I assume that's kind of the play. Because if you actually have to prove something in this climate, and especially with this administration, well, yeah, if it shows the truth, they're not really going to like that. So they'd rather lean into keeping you in this gray area. And the same is going to happen to Xtra. So my prediction is the Muse was pulled off the market not because it's not ready. And in fact, there's a good creator friend of mine named, according to Jonathan, that went to the Xtra event and tested it out. Now, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I did watch his videos and I have conversated with him a little bit. I'm pretty sure that he would agree that the thing is pretty close to production ready, if not production ready. I mean, listen, the Luna Ultra is not ready either, but they put it out. So I don't really think that's the whole story. I think it's a convenient, let's call it cover up to what's really going on. They didn't respond to the FCC. They got a $25,000 fine, and that's not starting off on a good foot. So I truly believe Xtra had a production ready Muse 2. They didn't respond, and now, well, they're pulling it back because they are probably going to be placed on the banned list, or the covered list is what we call it. And again, put in that purgatory because the United States government has no onus or no obligation to do any of these investigations and prove to us and to the company that they are breaking some type of national security law or, espionage or whatever they think, right? Because they'd actually have to prove it. So this way they don't have to. So what does that mean for you all? That means a couple of things. First and foremost, I don't think I would buy Xtra products right now. And the reason for that is because the uncertainty. And the uncertainty is the same with DJI products. Are they going to come and confiscate your cameras? Nope, they're not going to do that. Are your cameras going to all of a sudden stop working? Likely not. Is it going to be illegal to film with Xtra cameras? No, and nor is it with DJI cameras that have already gotten approval. But what it will stop is the marketing and future sales in America, just as it's done with DJI. Now, what does that mean for the consumer? Well, the consumer, we get less choices. That's obvious. But we also don't know about things like warranty, replacement parts, and being able to even get support from a company, let alone the application and firmware updates that probably won't come. So until we get past this, I don't think that you should be looking into Xtra as an alternative. Unless, like me, you love the Atto, for example, which I do. I think I'd buy it again right now, but that's knowing these very real risks and knowing that it may end up just being a paperweight at some point. Now, there's other creators out there that already have their hands on production ready Muse 2s. So again, I'm not buying the narrative that it's not ready yet. I mean, camera companies now have trained us to push out things that aren't ready yet, whether that's DJI, whether that's Insta360, or even GoPro. So that narrative just doesn't fly with me. I think they're holding it back because they don't want to be further fined. And I think that they're trying to figure out what they can do. So listen, the choices are gone here in America. There is no more free and open trade in markets, and the consumer suffers. So now we're looking in a situation where GoPro, who is in dire straits, who probably won't make it past a year. I'm surprised they went above $1 and didn't get delisted from the stock exchange. They've actually gone back to their founder and gotten him a loan from him in order to stay afloat. And them pricing the new models of GoPro with extraordinary prices, more than some of these gimbal-based cameras, yet they really have lost sight all around. And that's typically what happens here in America when you go public. You're no longer a tech company, you're no longer a camera company, you might as well just be a finance company. And that's the sad state here in America. And unfortunately, with Xtra now being ready to be banned, it's going to be a two-trick pony until, the administration gets a ruffle under their collar about Insta360. Now here's the thing, I'm being hard with TNP. I don't even like saying his name, but this all started under Biden. So I don't really think you can pin it on one certain party or certain administration, but certainly this administration likes a little grease right here. So I think Xtra, if you would like, I'm happy to consult you on how to play the new game here in America. But otherwise, you are going to go the way of DJI. And a lot of you will probably give me the same grief that you did about DJI and saying, oh, that will never happen. It's just the drones. But you ended up being wrong. I'm not saying that I'm special. I'm not saying I'm a clairvoyant by any stretch of the imagination. What I am saying is I probably paid more attention to this stuff, and I do have a background where I can read these documents and understand how institutions like the FCC works. And again, I know I put a lot of blame on the current executive administration. However, they do have more power than I ever thought an executive branch would ever have. And they can go to the FCC, and I'm sure, if you put, the Barron on the board, you're probably going to get past a lot of these so-called FCC rules and so-called laws. So if you think America is ahead and America is first, you're completely wrong. We're quickly becoming last. And at the end of the day, whether it's you going to the grocery store or us trying to buy cameras, it's more expensive, we have less choice, and that will continue. So read between the lines, folks. But if you're only interested in cameras, the line is this: Xtra is cooked. Anyways, please consider liking and subscribing, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Will Xtra be banned or not? I'm very interested to see your comments and what you all believe. Now, I'm not saying you need to go read all the FCC articles or anything else. I'm happy with just everyday comments, but understand, I got one call right. I do feel I'll probably be right again. Anyways, my name's HillPhantom. I'll see you next time.